A few days ago, we got to celebrate Remembrance Day, or in the US, Veterans Day. But our past is very different. So let's take a look at Remembrance Day, is when people gather together to honor those who have passed away and died, killed, whatever, however you want to look at it, in wars that have gone on in the past. But we all have past memories. We have memories that we are grateful for and enjoy, and we look forward to remembering those happy times or times when we've celebrated life. Many of us have specific dates in our lives when we got married, when we got divorced, when we had children, their birthdays, our birthdays, other families' birthdays, people who have lived a long time, celebrating of each kind, you might say 0 or 5 year as we go on. So lots of things to celebrate, lots of things to remember. But what about those memories we don't want to think about? What about those memories that we put on the side and just don't want to go there? And if they do come up, or if they do sneak their way in, which they have a tendency to do actually, is we don't want to go there. And it makes us sad for maybe a second or two before we can kind of eradicate them. I truly believe that those are the ones we really need to explore. What is it we're hiding from? Because what I discovered as we kind of freeze in space and time, that moves outward into the life and keeps recreating itself. Why do you think we keep having the same scenarios go on and on? Oh, we could say, well, we just didn't learn from them. We didn't come to understand, or we have to keep repeating things until we get it. But I think it's more than that. I think it's because if we take a really good look at some of these, we need to assume responsibility of how it happened or didn't happen. And very often we are quote unquote victims to circumstances. But the soul goes on for a long, long time. And the soul still has things to work out in this life. It has things to work out in such a way that we may not even be aware of why a certain circumstance comes up. So it is by only going back into our memories, whether it be in this life or another life, but let's stay in this life, by finding out how did we respond in any circumstance? How did we relate? How did we, you might say, stuff it down? Or did we really take a very good look at all the components of any particular memory? What was our part in it? How did we respond to it? What did we do? And it's those ones that lurk on the fringes, sort of like, yeah, but we don't want to go there. They're the ones that keep creating. They keep showing up in some way or another. New characters, yes, in the scenario, new circumstances. But it is only by understanding how we responded in event A, or maybe it was D, event D, same thing over and over, that we really begin to understand how we get, and I'm going to use the word sucked in. How do we get sucked into this circumstance? How do we keep repeating that? And I feel it's only by going back, hopefully, to the first incident. Now, the first incident could have been many lifetimes ago, but anyway, at the same point, it's like now there is only now. There is only now to be able to deal with things. And sometimes that means going and looking at memories that we don't want to look at. Remembrance. How do we remember? How do we think about different parts of our lives? I shut down very early in my life. I just kind of lived and didn't think too much about it. And then my whole life opened up with huge change. And even then, there were times when I found myself becoming frozen, not really responding at a particular time. And I truly think I'm not unsimilar to many, many, many people in this world. Then there were certain memories I didn't want to go into, circumstances that would happen. I don't want to remember that. I don't want to remember how that felt. I don't want to remember that at all. But eventually I began to realize that we have to remember who we are, what we have done, and in particular, most important, What decisions did we make? Because to me, the decisions that we make is what creates the next scenario, what creates the next thing that's coming down or workable. And that is all so important in the direction of what's occurring. Your life is full of memories. And consequently, I'm just going to suggest spending some time to remember those things that lurk on the outside that we don't want to remember. We don't want to remember things that hurt us. We don't want to remember things that disturb us. We only want to remember good things. But life is more than just good things. So just set aside a little time just to go back, knowing that you're in the present, knowing you are who you are now, but to look back and see how sometimes those things that we didn't want to look at keep outplaying in our lives one way or another. Remembrance. Yes, we need to give the past, the people who have contributed, friends, family, strangers, what they have contributed to life. We need to honor that, but we need to also honor ourselves and to know that in our lifetimes, we have had situations which we would prefer not to have to have even endured or to remember. But it's freedom. And that's what it's about. It's freedom. Freedom from the past. Freedom to become more. Freedom to be who you truly, truly are by facing squarely some of those memories that lurk and bring them out of the dark and pour light on them, and forgiveness and light and love, and be able to move forward freely so those situations do not have to keep repeating themselves. I just want to thank you for listening, and I wish you a great weekend and the coming week. And I'll be back on Wednesday with my Norma Talks. Thank you. Bye now.